Leicester Till I Die, now available on Spotify.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Yes, good evening, fellow Fox fans. How are we all? Happy after the other night? We're through in Europe. The rest of the country might be Brexiting. We're carrying on and going on. Welcome along, and you are watching.
You are watching Leicester Till I Die TV with Chris and Chums. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Pinterest. All you need for everything Leicester City FC. It's Leicester Till I Die TV. Leicester Till I Die, now available on Spotify.
It's Friday night, it's 7:30. It's not Crackerjack, it is the Opposition View. It's show. It's back to Premier League action this weekend, and 5:30 Monday night, we've got a little matter of this.
It's Leicester City versus Fulham, Monday night at the King Power Stadium.
It is. We're back to action after a disappointing showing against Liverpool, and you are watching Leicester Till I Die TV. And if you're watching live, you can watch us in two places. You can watch us on YouTube, which is Leicester Till I Die TV, and you can watch us live on Facebook. And if you are on Facebook, please just click the StreamYard logo. Just mean you don't come up as Facebook user, you come up with who you are, and I can see who I'm talking to. And if you're watching this on catch up, welcome along. If you listen to the podcast version, although why you wouldn't want to look at me, maybe I do understand. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on iTunes, we're on Google, we're on everything basically. But a couple of hellos, and I don't know who I'm saying hello back to here, but it's hi to Facebook user, it's hello to Facebook user number 2, and it's hello to Facebook user number 3. Stick your names at the end if you don't want to click on the link, and as I say, at least then I can give you a call out rather than just calling you Facebook user. It's Fulham. It's Fulham on Monday, and we're going to welcome a gentleman, Emilio, from Cottage Talk, the Fulham podcast. Emilio, Italian-sounding name, Italian family, and he's calling us all the way from sunny London. Let's bring him in. Good evening, Emilio.
Hello there, Chris. Hello there. Hello, fans, listeners around the world. Thanks for having me on the show. Looking forward to tonight.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining us. It's nice to have Fulham fans on. It's nice to have a bit of banter without it sort of getting all nasty and horrible. Like you say, we'll leave that. We'll leave that to Chelsea. First of all, welcome back. Welcome back to the Premier League. Nice to have you back. You know, you're only gone for a year, but you've come back. You are from London, though, you were saying, but you've got Italian roots.
That's right. I was born. Well, I've been supporting Fulham now 40 years. Yeah. I was born a stone's throw away from Chelsea Stadium and was brought up literally between the two grounds. 10 minutes walk between Fulham Stadium and 10 minutes away from Stamford Bridge. So, you know, I've got Italian parents, so that's where the heritage comes from. As I'm also a reasonably large and big Napoli fan. So I do obviously distraught this week after Diego Maradona. We won't talk so much about that tonight. I'm sure there's a split opinion. He divides opinion, doesn't he, over the years? But
he does. But you were saying, you did say before when we were chatting on Twitter. I mean, he was, as English fans, and I don't know whether which side of the fence you fall on, sort of for your national team, but as England fans, it's one of those. We remember what happened. Had Gary Lineker done it at the other end, of course, he would have been totally exonerated.
Exactly.
But he was, you know, we saw both sides in that famous game. You know, that side and the amazing goal, and you got to see him live, which must have been quite spectacular.
Absolutely, and obviously being a Napoli fan, I saw him many pre-season games when I was there for over the summer holidays all those years ago. We won 2 championships while he was at the peak of his career. I saw him a few league games at the beginning of the seasons. Each time I was going, so I was blessed to actually watch him play live, and he was a tremendous talent. And let's forget the fact that he's had a downward spiral over the last 10, 15 years, for various reasons. But on the day, he was exceptional. He was a great talent. Like you said, on that England game in the World Cup, one of the best World Cups for many decades. And you saw both sides of him. The cheating side of him, and he'll even to this day, if you had asked him, he would happily admit that he did cheat. And then you saw the spectacular goal. So he was able to do. But too young to go. Whether you love him or hate him, we don't want someone to pass away that young.
Unfortunately, when you look back at football history, and neither of us, no disrespect to spring chickens here, but there's a lot of talented players that unfortunately sort of do seem to depart and leave us too soon. Look, moving forward, obviously, I think a lot of clubs have got a lot more things in place now to help people, which is a good thing, But anyway, condolences from us for that. But back to more pressing matters, which is obviously the Premier League. I could say you came back with it. I think you came back by the playoffs, didn't you?
Yeah. And again, it's many fans. We should have done better in terms of getting more competitive and maybe pressing for those top 2 places. But Scott Parker's done a very good job. I wasn't his biggest fan when he got the job a couple of years ago. He did a reasonable job, just playing with a bit of pride when we were automatically when we got relegated 2 seasons ago. But he's done his job. His job was to get us promoted, and he's done that. So whether you like the style of football he plays, whether you agree with his principles, he got the job done. I was always nervous as soon as you got through the playoffs. Rather than me celebrating they were back in the Premier League, I was already thinking ahead, thinking, well, actually, it's going to be a long, hard season, whoever we buy. The objective is 17th place for me, and let's stay in the Premier League and build on that. But it's going to be a long, hard winter for me.
Like I said to you before we came live, finish 17th this year, go on and win it next year. But it has been a sort of a baptism with fire since you've come back. We're just looking at the table there. I mean, unfortunately you are in the bottom 3. 9 played, 1 win, 1 draw. Obviously, therefore 7 losses. But is it? I know when sort of we came up and we had Nigel Pearson as the manager, and we managed the sort of what was called the Great Escape, probably the great escape. When we were playing it week in, week out, we were only losing sort of 1-0, 2-0 in those days. And we were battling, and you could see that, we were just losing. So the fact that we were losing, but the fact that we were at least putting up a fight. Do you see that in your team?
Last few games, broadly speaking, yes. We obviously, Scott Parker, trusted the players that got the team promoted. So, admirable to do that. But clearly the team needs a lot of investment, a lot of strength. The squad in the Championship was generally very weak, and probably not Premier League quality. And the first few games we were getting hammered, same as it was 2 seasons ago. We got hammered by Arsenal, a good lesson in first game, 3-0. Didn't look tidy at times, but offered very little up front. We got hammered by Aston Villa 3-0 while they were at the height of their season when they were winning week in, week out. And we had to go back to basics. So there was a few late last minute signings on loan and some official signings, and slowly but surely the team looks a little bit more stable defensively. Aside from the 15-20 minutes against Everton at the weekend, we've broadly looked okay. We lost to Wolves 1-0. To be honest, I thought we probably deserved a point from that game. West Ham, that debacle 2-3 weeks ago when we missed a penalty right deep in added time. Again, their goal was offside and we didn't take the penalty. That could have been 1-1, another point. Sheffield United, we should have won. We only got the draw away. So to be honest, the team's improving week in, week out, but the points are not on the board, and that's the problem. To your point, you're losing by the odd goal.
Yes,
we're not getting hammered. So that's the encouraging signs. But we've got to start converting draws into wins and stop losing as many games as we have done. But we've got a terrible run of games coming up now. We've got yourself Man City and Liverpool back to back. So,
well, Man City, you never know. You might get something out of that. With Liverpool, I wish you all the best because they even gave us a footballing lesson last Sunday. Unfortunately, 2 seasons running, and it is very difficult when you come up whether it's playoffs or as champions, whatever. I mean, Sheffield United last season, Blackpool when they first came up, it doesn't always happen like that. Yes, sometimes you can carry on with the momentum, but there is a big gulf, isn't there, between the two divisions?
Yeah, very much so. And I think the quality of the championship every year is getting worse and worse. And I'm not sure if that's because the teams who are getting relegated are not really in Premier League quality. And I think that also signifies maybe the Premier League hasn't really got the quality. In the old days, there'd be 3 or 4 top teams in the Premier League, and maybe there'll be 3 divisions in the Premier League. Now I think this season in particular, you've really got top 6, top 7, and then there's majority of the rest of the team, and there's 3 teams fighting for for relegation amongst 4. It's Brighton, I think, are good enough to stay in the Premier League. They're playing good football, and if they can score goals, they'll stay. But for me, it's between Burnley, ourselves, West Brom, and Sheffield United fighting for those 3 places. I honestly don't think the other teams are picking up points. That's worrying. There's already a gap forming between Fulham and Brighton, who's 5th from bottom. That's a worry for me.
I mean, 2 of those teams you mentioned there, I've got to be honest with you, I'm surprised to see down there. Sheffield United, after last season, they always say the second season is the tough one because, you have to kick on. Staying up is hard. Not every team goes on and wins the Premier League in the second season. I've got to keep mentioning it. Forgive me, but I've got to keep mentioning it. And Burnley, who have been quite, not sort of dug any trees up, but they've sort of always been sort of, 7, 8, 9, 10, those are positions, and they're down there. But having said that, they had a very, very, very poor transfer window. Were you happy with the transfer window you had, or?
I think the key thing was Scott Parker's philosophy is all about defence, so safety first. So that's obviously where the owners have placed the most investment. It was a long time coming. We've got few last minute signings always, but we're now starting to see the benefit of that defence. We're starting to look a lot more secure. The team is starting to play with a bit more rapport. They're getting to know each other a little bit better. I think the next few games, like I've said, against Leicester, Man City, Liverpool, I'm not expecting anything from those 3 games. So play with a bit of pride. Experiment necessary, because I think that if you can get anything more than 3 defeats, then that's a bonus for me. So it's all about trying to steady the ship. But I think defensively we look a lot more secure. I still think we're very light up front. Mitrovic is going through a bit of poor run of form at the moment. He's not playing well for his country. He's missed a few penalties for country and club. He's lost that bottle. He just needs a goal to basically give him that boost of confidence that he needs. And maybe he'll become the threat that we need him to be. But I worry if he's injured, then where are the goals coming from? So defensively, we've steadied the ship. Yeah, enough goal. Loftus-Cheek, I think, needs to start starting more games. I think he was a good signing, but we haven't really in and out of the team. So hopefully he's back injury free now and could start to cement his place in the team. That's his quality. When he came on a Sunday, he looked a different class to me. And these are the players who need to start cementing their place in the team, and we build around them. But overall, not a bad transfer window. We didn't spend millions, but we bought in the right places, and it's just about now continuity and building a bit of confidence.
I mean, this is it, isn't it? It's not always about numbers. I mean, we're exactly the same. We weren't big on numbers, but hopefully we've done really, really well on quality. I mean, do you? And I still don't. I find it very hard to think of Leicester as particularly a big club, because I always think of us as sort of our history, up and down. We've won the second tier 7 times, but does a team like Fulham sort of look at what we have achieved in the last 5-6 years and use that as inspiration?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's we fans shouldn't forget that we were 13 consecutive years in the Premier League before we got relegated 5-6 years ago. So we were an established Premier League team. Yes, we're not a big club traditionally. We maybe punched above our weight for many seasons. We fought relegation a number of seasons, but we also under Roy Hodgson and Martin Yeo, we were mid-table, top 7, top 8 under Mark Hughes. So we had some good seasons. So for me, Premier League survival is always what the minimum Fulham fans should expect. Anything higher than that, I think that we're not realistic. I look at Newcastle fans and. You're saying don't talk about Liverpool. For me, I can't stand Newcastle fans. I'm sorry if there are people listening, but why do they think they've got a divine right to be in the league just because they've got 50,000 fan base? You have to earn the right to play in this division. And
definitely.
Same with us. I think if we get there, let's do our best to stay. And a lot of fans prefer to see more wins and stay in the Championship. Where's the ambition? Surely you want to be playing at the top level, and hopefully we can we can stay in the division and then build from that next year. But it's going to be difficult. It's going to be
I think the many years that you were in the Premier League, we weren't, and we had a long run sort of in the second tier. But yeah, you mentioned there. I mean, you had Roy Hodgson, and you got to a Europa League final. Was it Europa League at the time, or?
Yeah, Europa League. We went to a few of those away games. I went to the semi-final, the final itself in Hamburg. Literally 2 weeks back to back, and there's a Roma game away was great. Saw the Juventus game at home, so there was some great memories. And Roy Hodgson, love him to death. He done wonders for this team. But again, we didn't have technically the best players in the world, but he got the best out of them. We molded as a team. I look back on those replays, and then goodness me, I'd love to have a Bobby Zamora up front, with his pace and strength. Clint Dempsey scoring goals. We didn't have, like I said, top, international players, but we had players who played for the sleeve and played for the shirt. And, I love those days. Love them. It
means a lot. I mean, again, the team we had under Ranieri, I'll come to in a second. It wasn't world stars. There were journeymen. There were free transfers. But like you say, it's what the manager can get out of those players. Mentioned Ranieri there. Didn't I mean, he came to us and everybody was kind of like, who, why, what? He absolutely smashed the ball out the court, which nobody seen coming. He then kind of started to make his own signings, his own, bring his own team, and it all went disastrously wrong. You had him in an attempt to sort of keep up. He didn't last long, did he?
No, he didn't. And I was to be honest, when he got made the manager, I was actually quite pleased. I thought, okay, he's obviously not. He's successful at Leicester, of course, but he was often not successful in some of the Italian teams he was playing. He lasted a season and a half, then he would get the sack. But overall, I thought he would be the right man to keep the club in the division. But clearly, it didn't work. His style of football didn't appease with the fans. The fans were still upset that Jokanovic's predecessor was sacked. The fans wanted him to be given more time. But I thought Ranieri had enough intelligence and quality to be able to keep the defense on. Sort out your defense. That's why they brought him in. Defensively, he plays a very tight game of brand of football and tries to catch you on the break. But we didn't really have the players to play to his style of football. And defensively, we didn't address the problem. We're getting hammered 2 and 3-0, week in, week out. And it was only a matter of time. It was a man of the defeats, especially the turn of the year. Those performances away from home, I recall, were abysmal, awful. It was only a matter of time before he's gone left. So I put my hand up. I thought he'd be a good manager for the club, but clearly only lasted 4 months.
Yeah. Well, you never know when you bring them in, do you? And Louise, good evening, Louise. Thanks a lot for joining us. Welcome, and it's nice to have you. As he said, the best players don't always make the best team, and that that is very true. I mean, coming back now to Monday night. Do you look at Leicester at the moment? We've got a lot of injuries. I mean, Liverpool, when we played them, they had a lot. They had as many as us. We were the two teams with the most injuries. It was like the tea ladies versus the bin men almost. They still gave us a footballing lesson. I hate to say, but do you look at that and think, well, now's a good time to play Leicester?
I've looked at some of your performances this season. Like although you're top 4, is that because the division is a lot tighter this year? Because you're either winning or you're losing, and when you are losing, you're losing quite poorly. The West Ham defeat at home. It was a very very disappointing performance. I was hoping West Ham would be a team that would be not fighting for relegation, but within the bottom 6. But they've picked up some form recently, and that was a poor performance from yourselves. The Liverpool game again. Liverpool are a bit up and down. They lost up, they beat you, but then lost at home to Atalanta in midweek in the Champions League. So I think for Leicester fan, you got 6 wins out of 9. I think it is. You're scoring goals, but defensively, you're not as tight as you could be. Like I said, there's 2 3-0 defeats. I think you lost at home to Villa, I recall. So you're a bit up and down. Europe, you're doing well. You qualified into the next round of the Europa League. That's great. Great for British football, but I wouldn't say that you're there for the taking. I think at the end of the day, it's still going to be a tough game for Fulham. You've got, if Jamie Vardy starts. You're going to use him to his full potential, and it's for me, it's a central midfield. The key thing is we can't play possession and don't give Leicester too much respect. We did that against Everton on Sunday. I thought we gave them a bit too much respect in that first half, and they punished us with 3 goals. But overall, we could have come away with a point in that game. We missed a penalty. on another, if we had a bit more quality in certain key areas, we might be able to snatch a point. So 3-2 defeat, like I said, we only lost by the 1 goal, but still 0 points on the board. So I'm not. If we get a point, I'll be pleased. But I think let's play with respect Leicester City, and keep it tight. Otherwise,
I think you made a very good point there, because we were saying as well that we gave Liverpool way too much respect in a lot of ways. I mean, we have slowly. I mean, the defense we've got at the moment. I mean, you one time we're playing, 2 players in there in the mid-30s in Fuchs and Morgan, but we've got we've got Fofana who is an amazing buy. No, you think like we were so determined. Claude Puel, was our ex-manager, was then his manager at San Etienne. He didn't want to sell to us, and we were going back. And my God, you can see why now. But it depends. I think for us, for me certainly, it depends on which Leicester turns up, because, like you say, we can go to Arsenal and to Manchester City and beat them, sticking 5 past Man City, but we can host Villa and West Ham and and lose. It's I mean, hopefully we're going to have some players back for this game. How are you for injuries at the moment? You mentioned Mitrovic. Is he injured?
More out of form. So I expect him to start on Sunday, on Monday night. He was rested on Sunday game against Everton. He came back from international duty. Didn't have the best couple of games. He missed that sort of penalty for Serbia which allowed Scotland to qualify for the Euro Championships next year. So he's not been on top form this season, but he needs to start on Sunday. He's had time to rest. You need a big man up there to start on Monday night. And not so much injuries. We've got one of our right backs is injured at the moment, but the one who's deputised for him, Aina, looked a little bit weak on Sunday. That's why I think you guys will expose him at left back, at right back, because he was poor against Everton, and he got totally exposed. 3 goals from Everton resulted from 3 crosses from wide and 3 goals. Four goals to give away from outside. So I think you'll be exploiting those flanks. And you'll know where our weaknesses are. You're probably going to pump the ball into the penalty area and put our defenders under a lot of pressure.
Yes, yeah. Well, hopefully we will. And like I say, hopefully we will be sort of having some players back. But so what players should we be worried about from Fulham? Who's going to give us problems?
I'd like to think. I think it's rather than Fulham giving you problems. I think it's very much, can we keep it tight and compact? And knowing how Scott Parker plays, you'll be. The worry for me, sometimes you're trying to play the ball out of defence far too. Sometimes you can't play that type of football because you're going to get caught out. We got caught out on Sunday within 40 seconds.
We are exactly the same. Brendan Rodgers loves playing it out from the back, and sometimes I'm like clenched buttock time, know.
And we haven't got the players to do that, and that's the worry for me. And when I met Scott Parker, was it last year? And it's been a private event, October last year, and I was questioning him around his brand of football, and he said that's the philosophy he wants to play. Hold possession, keep ball, let the opposition run around, but try to be patient and cover opportunities. But for me, Premier League is a different ball game, and we can't give too much respect to the opposition when we keep playing out of defence. But for me, who would Loftus-Cheek? I'd like to see Loftus-Cheek starting getting a regular place. I think he's a quality. He's a former England international, so I know he's had lots of injuries, but he's no mug, to be honest. He's a good player if he's fit. And Tom Kearney's had a few good games recently as well, so I'd like to see Tom Kearney pushing up front and maybe sitting behind Mitrovic, who he's had a poor season. We know that there'll be a turning point during the season. Maybe it might be on Monday night, and Lookman, despite the fact he missed that horrendous penalty a few weeks ago against West Ham, he's probably been our best player this season. He's dangerous. He likes taking on players. He's pacey, and he's got an eye for goal, and he's created a couple of assists. So for me, they're the 3 key players. And Mitrovic on his day, if he can get some form and focus, then he can be a threat to your defence as well. Like you said, some of your defenders are the wrong side of 30. I'd like to see Mitrovic giving them a few problems on Monday night.
If he's going to do it against anybody, in fact, we were saying this on the preview show on Tuesday, Leicester seem to be the team where if anybody's, or the commentator says like, oh, this guy's not scored in 5 hours and 34 minutes, He'll do it against Leicester. If guys miss the last 3 penalties, get the penalty. He'll do it against. We seem to be everybody's team for that. But I don't think it's. I mean, I was looking back, as I say, last season we didn't play each other, but the season before that, it wasn't. I mean, it was a draw at your place in December. And we got the 3-1 in March. But, I don't think it's going to be the. A lot of our fans, it's Fulham, and they're where they are, and it's not going to be easy. Sometimes it's harder to play teams when they're at the bottom, and you don't give us the space, because obviously we know Vardy likes to run behind, and the bigger, say the big six, if you like, those sort of type teams do that, where the other teams tend to sort of sit back more and don't give us the space.
Exactly, and I look, that 2 years ago when we played you at home, I think we took the lead in that game, I recall, and on the day we made a mistake and we got punished for it. The away game, I think was that Brendan Rodgers' first game at home, and there was a fact around that game.
I'm not sure, to be honest with
you. It was 1-1 shortly after half time, and I thought, okay, we're back in the game, but then Leicester did what they do best, 2 late goals, and you deservedly weren't out 3-1 winners. But for me, it's all about keeping possession. I think if we can keep it tight, we've got Anguissa in central midfield, who's a bit of a horse. He's very strong. We miss. He was rested on Sunday against Everton, so for me, he'll be starting the game. So if him, Tom Kearney, and Loftus-Cheek can have start to really get a hold on that midfield, then we could cause you problems. But you've got the quality. You've got Jamie Vardy, and we know what he's capable of doing. But if we can keep him at bay. Keep him at bay. Don't give the ball away cheaply. Keep possession and make it difficult for you. That's the key thing. But for me, it's how do we break down your midfield and defence and carve out key opportunities. That's where I think we're slightly lacking. And Scott Parker's philosophy is patient football, try to carve out opportunities, pass the ball. And we looked good at times against Everton. So hopefully we can play similarly against yourself on Monday night.
This could be the most boring game of the season. You're basically describing Brendan Rodgers some games. I mean, we remember, as Leicester fans, we hold very dear to our heart Ranieri's team when, for obvious reasons, but also they were didn't have they won with little possession, and they won on the account of faster counter-attacking football. And Brendan, pretty much like Scott, though, he was saying there, it's against Arsenal. It was like, putting, parking the bus sort of thing. And, and if both of us are doing that, then it's going to be, like I say, it could be a 0-0 I envisage it. But we've touched on, you've touched on Scott a couple of times there, Scott Parker. You came in, wasn't able to keep you up. You went down. He brought you back up via the playoffs. Is he the man to take you forward?
At the end of the day, we can't keep sacking managers. For me,
no.
That's whether you like someone or not, you've got the fans need to support the manager, and I think he's got it's got a difficult challenge ahead of him. It was never going to be easy when he got promoted. I remember beating Brentford in that playoff final in August. Like I said earlier, my worry was how strong are we going to be in the Premier League? That was my worry. I couldn't relax because I knew that we're going to have a very difficult season ahead. So most Fulham fans have to accept it. It was always going to be a difficult season, but we've made some shrewd signings. The team is starting to come together, and he will give us the best chance. I think we have to give him a chance. We can't keep sacking managers. You've got to be patient. If we start losing 3 or 4-0 every game, it's a different story. But we're only losing by the odd goal now. That's the thing. Several games we've lost by the odd goal, and that's progress for me. 2 years ago, when we were in the Premier League, we were losing 3-0 week in, week out. 4-0, 2-0. Now we're more competitive, more difficult to beat. And if we can start to maybe take some of our chances and be a little bit more clinical when we create them, then we might have had a few more points on the board. If we take our penalty chances, maybe we would have had a few more points on the board. So I think we've got to give him a chance. From now, his fans are calling for his head already. Well, what do you expect? We haven't got the luxury of world-class players. This is a squad. These are the players, and he's trying to get the best out of them. And there's progress there because we're not losing 3-0 each week now. We're only losing by the odd goal. So give him a chance, and hopefully we can start picking up some points after the Liverpool game. We've got some games in December which more winnable. So that's when you measure progress. You can't measure progress against the next 3 games. For me, they're just games that you don't expect to get anything from. So
anything is a bonus. But I mean, Watford seem to sort of change their managers more than they change their underwear.
Exactly.
And Leicester, we've gone through a few since Pearson left us. It'd been a while, but like you say, given time and given the back in, then hopefully they'll do well. Thanks so much, Emilio, for joining us. I'm going to ask you before you go for prediction. I mean, I've gone for. I know, I hate this. I've gone for a 3-1.
Okay.
To Leicester, I should add that. Sorry,
okay,
to Leicester. I don't trust our defence to keep a clean sheet. I don't know. I think. Just after Liverpool, I think we'll have had a heart to heart, and we'll have sort of learnt. Hopefully, we'll have learnt from that. And I think Liverpool, you just got to put it down that it was Liverpool, a bogey team at the moment. And I think you may just sort of get the backlash a little bit. But what are you going to go for?
Yeah, I hope not. I hope we don't get that backlash. I think if we obviously. On paper, beginning of the season, you look at this fixture and say, well, if you get anything from the game, it's a bonus. So I'm going to say, I'm going to stick my neck out and say, well, maybe we'll snatch a 1-1 draw. Maybe Mitrovic will score a 94th minute penalty and finally convert something. So yeah, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think
that wasn't meant to come up then. Yes, no. Well, to be honest with you, I was joking on the other night when we were in the Europa League game that Perez would come on and score in the 93rd minute. Vardy scored in the 95th, so I was kind of there, but just the wrong player. But we do have a habit. We have scored more goals in the last 15 minutes than any other club in the Premier League this season.
Yeah, I saw that. That's a worry as well. So again, for me, it's make sure we're still in the game. Like again, Everton on the weekend, we gave ourselves too much to do. 3-1 down at half time. And yes, we've done well to get it back to 3-2. And with a bit more quality, we might have got a draw. But when you're losing 3-1 against arguably a top 6 team, then you're giving yourself too much to do. And that's the key thing for me is don't concede early. We keep conceding too many early goals. And that's a worry for me. So keep it tight and compact. Don't get on the back foot so soon. And then hopefully if we're still in it at half time, then who knows? I think that's the key thing for me. But if you're a two goal deficit, then it's curtains really. I can't see us coming back from a 2-goal deficit.
Well, we will see. I won't wish you all the best for Monday because I'm going to be lying. I wouldn't mean it. I'm sure you wouldn't. But I wish you all the best for the rest of the season from Tuesday onwards.
Thanks, Chris.
And hopefully your 17th or above will come true. Thanks so much for joining us, Emilio. And I'd love to have you back when we do the return fixture later in the year.
Thanks for inviting me, Chris. I've really enjoyed myself.
Thank you very much. Great to have a chat with you. Take care now. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, thanks to Emilio there. Some really good answers. Answers that probably, if I'd have been asked about Leicester, I would have given the same answers. So it was interesting. So we're going to be back. Just a reminder, we'll be back on Monday with the post-match show, usually about 30 minutes after the end of the game. Give you a chance to watch the summarising and give you a chance to go to the toilet and get a bite to eat. We're back here. You can see all the shows. We'll have the preview show for the Sheffield United game Tuesday at 7:30. And if you're going to watch that show, I don't know if you remember a couple of weeks ago, we had Barry Pierpoint on. Now, he was Leicester's chief executive, first chief executive, and he was the chief executive when we went public that time. Love-hate, Marmite sort of figure. You love him or you hate him. I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of people, I think, when they saw the interview with him, were surprised what a sort of nice guy he was, and he wasn't sort of the villain that everybody had in their minds. But hey, he's got a book out, Minding My Own Football Business. It's going to be out on the 7th of December. Amazon, WH Smith, all the normal places. You can pre-order, and if you go on to mindingmyownfootballbusiness.com, I believe it is, but if you type in Google Minding My Own Football Business, the website will come up. But if you want to sort of win a copy, and he'll actually put a message in, so not just sign it or put a personalized message in for you, or if it's a present for somebody else, all we need you to do, all we ask you to do, is just make sure that you're subscribed to Leicester Till I Die TV on the YouTube channel, and then you're going to be in with a chance to win. We're just going to be choosing somebody on the night, and that person will win. So it's all you've got to do is make sure you're subscribed. In the meantime, have an absolutely fantastic weekend. Stay safe in whatever you do. Don't do anything I wouldn't enjoy, which leaves it really, really wide open. Thanks for watching. Catch this again on YouTube, or I say in Facebook. We're on YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV, and half an hour or so it'll be on Spotify, Apple, and all the other podcasts as well. Thanks for joining us. Stay safe. See you guys on Monday night. All the best. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye, and see you next time.
Shut up and sit down.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You'd better like them too, or I'll be back.